What happens when one of the biggest names in hip-hop is suddenly accused of stealing their only hit left on the charts? Drake, a global superstar, certified hitmaker, and arguably one of the most successful artists of our generation, now finds himself in a mounting controversy over his track, Nokia. Critics argue it's not really his creation, but was lifted from a lesser-known artist. Is this just an example of the modern-day reference track process? Or is it evidence that Drake's artistic reputation is in trouble? In today's video, I'm going to break down every angle of the Nokia controversy, look at why it matters to hip-hop at large, and see if it's the sign of a bigger issue in Drake's career. Stay tuned. To understand how we got here, we need a little background. Drake's latest album, SSS For You, underperformed by his standards, meaning that although it initially charted well, most songs didn't have the staying power fans expected. Typically, Drake's music dominates airwaves for months, generating memes, dance challenges, and viral moments. But not this time. Only one track persisted: Nokia. It's the bright spot in an otherwise forgettable set of songs. Fans have rallied around it, praising Drake for rekindling the spark that put him on top in the first place. However, new revelations suggest that Nokia might not be Drake's personal spark at all, but someone else's fire that he borrowed. The controversy arose when people noticed an artist named Ellen was credited for both vocals and production on Nokia. Initially, that sounded normal. Drake, like many top-tier artists, often collaborates with singer-songwriters, producers, and co-writers to shape his music. But the difference here is that Ellen's rumored involvement seemed more extensive than a typical collaboration. Allegedly, Ellen created the entire blueprint of Nokia months before Drake laid down a single verse. We're talking about melodies, hooks, vocal lines, yes, entire sections of the track that fans love. The "Who's Calling My Phone" refrain and the dramatic beat drop supposedly originated from Ellen's reference track, or demo, which was recorded well before Drake's version existed. Critics argue Drake essentially stamped his name on something that was already nearly complete. For Drake's detractors, it's the ultimate sign of inauthenticity. He didn't just buy a beat, he bought a whole vibe. Vocals, arrangement, concept, everything. That's not sitting well with some corners of the hip-hop community. Now, we have to address the elephant in the room. The hip-hop genre has always placed a premium on authenticity. Ghostwriting or heavily referencing another artist's track has long been frowned upon. We saw it with Meek Mill calling out Drake for allegedly using Quentin Miller as a ghostwriter, which led to one of modern rap's biggest beefs. We've seen it with other artists as well, from Kanye West's co-writing process to controversies over Beyoncé's writing credits. In pop music, it's entirely normal, expected even, to have a team of writers, producers, and session vocalists come together to create hits. But in hip-hop, part of the cultural foundation is the ability to craft your own lyrics and shape your unique sound. So, when fans discover that an entire melody, hook, or concept didn't originate with their favorite MC, it undermines their credibility as a rapper. Thus, critics say that Drake might still be fine as a pop star, but if he's trying to claim he's on par with lyricists like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, or other top-tier rappers, Nokia calls his authenticity into question. Is he truly a rap artist, or is he more akin to a pop phenomenon who occasionally raps? To be fair, Drake is still a wildly successful artist. Even if SSS For You underperformed compared to Views or Scorpion, he still commands massive streaming numbers. But from a critical perspective, many have noticed a dip in the long-term impact of his projects. The fan community has been split. Some say Drake is just evolving with the times, others claim he's losing the cutting-edge innovation that once defined him. The Nokia fiasco is crucial because it's the one track from SSS For You that's gained traction, and it might not even be his original work. This feels symbolic. The only ray of light in an otherwise dull album cycle was possibly borrowed from someone else. People started digging once rumors spread about a mysterious reference track. A video or snippet of Ellen's original version made its way onto social media. It sounded remarkably similar to Drake's final output. Same melody, same phrasing, and a near-identical arrangement. That's when fans put two and two together, pointing out that the official credits show Ellen listed for vocals and production, but that Drake's marketing never highlighted Ellen's pivotal role. The immediate reaction from Drake fans was damage control. Of course it's credited. This is just how the industry works. It's a reference track, not stealing. Meanwhile, critics said the credit doesn't fully absolve Drake of responsibility. If the reference was so extensive that it basically encompassed the entire track, then Drake didn't co-create, he hopped onto a ready-made hit. One layer to this is the ongoing rivalry, admittedly stoked by fan bases, between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar is widely seen as a masterful lyricist. His works are praised for deep concepts, cohesive narratives, and original production choices. Drake is regarded for his melodic sense, emotional honesty, and mainstream appeal. Critics are suggesting that Drake is trying to use Nokia as a triumphant "I never fell off" track, painting the narrative that he is still unstoppable. Meanwhile, Kendrick continues to receive acclaim for major tours, awards, and writing that's undeniably his own. If Drake is perceived as lifting entire song structures from other artists, it further widens the authenticity gap between him and someone like Kendrick. Before we condemn Drake entirely, it's important to remember this practice is standard in the pop world. Megastars like Rihanna, Justin Bieber, Taylor Swift, even Beyoncé frequently collaborate with multiple songwriters and producers who shape a track from the ground up. In that sense, Drake is acting like a pop star. He sees a fresh idea, recognizes its mainstream potential, and invests to make it an official release under his brand. But the distinction is hip-hop's cultural ethic. Rap purists argue that if you're selling yourself as one of the best rappers, lyricists, or MCs, this isn't how you operate. Yes, you can collaborate with producers or reference hooks, but you usually have to write your own verses, design your flows, or at least pioneer the core concept. Nokia, by contrast, is rumored to have come fully formed. That's not typical for a self-proclaimed rap legend. Drake hasn't publicly commented in detail about these allegations. Some believe he won't, because acknowledging the controversy would draw more attention to it. In the past, he's occasionally addressed ghostwriting rumors, claiming he's actively involved in the writing process. For now, it's radio silence. His fan base, Team Drizzy as some call it, tends to defend him, saying that credit was given to Ellen, so it's not stealing. They also argue the final performance is still Drake's voice and persona, so that alone makes it Drake's track. On the other side, critics maintain that if you peel back the layers, there's not much originality left in Nokia to claim as Drake's. Is Drake's entire legacy suddenly worthless? Probably not. He's had more than a decade of hits, from Take Care to Nothing Was the Same, forging cultural moments and shaping modern rap's melodic style. Yet, each new accusation chips away at the idea that Drake is a top-tier rapper standing toe-to-toe with the greatest MCs. In a genre that prizes authenticity, repeated controversies about ghostwriters and reference tracks tarnish an artist's rap credibility. If the best performing track on his new album is one he apparently didn't conceive, fans and industry insiders might question just how involved Drake is in his music these days. It raises the question, is Drake the phenomenon, songwriter, lyricist, visionary, or Drake the brand, an entertainer who can deliver a catchy performance built by a team behind the curtain? That distinction matters, especially for fans who grew up idolizing him as not just a performer, but an artist who shaped each record from the ground up. So, what does all this mean going forward? Well, it's a sign that Drake's approach to music may be at a crossroads. He might fully embrace being a pop star, focusing on glossy, hit-ready tracks crafted by teams of talented co-writers and producers, an approach used by countless successful artists. There's no shame in that. Pop relies on collaborative creativity, but claiming the throne as the best rapper alive requires you to defend your lyrical and conceptual credibility. Perhaps Drake's next move is a deeply personal album that he writes with minimal outside input, silencing the critics once and for all. Or maybe he'll double down on the pop formula, focusing on global appeal and chart success, leaving behind the old standard of rap authenticity. Either way, the Nokia controversy underlines a rift that has existed in Drake's image for years. Is he a genuine hip-hop king, or a pop juggernaut who occasionally dabbles in rap? At the end of the day, it's up to you, the fans, to decide how much you care about an artist's process. Some fans aren't bothered if the song is a bop. Others see it as a betrayal of hip-hop's core values. And Drake's future might just hinge on how many people line up on each side of that debate. Thanks for sticking with me until the end. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Drake crossed a line here? Is it just standard industry practice, or is it a bigger blow to his status in hip-hop?